taper fades, cornrows, dreadlocks, low-cut brush. Once upon a time, all these hairstyles lived in harmony on every man's head until the 20s attacked.
I think I'm going bald. And the truth is, you might be too. That's if you aren't bald already. The crazy part about this fact is that it might come for you sooner than you think. According to a study, approximately 85% of all men will experience some type of balding over the course of their life. Fun fact, 25% of those men start seeing the signs at the age of 21. As of the scripting of this video, I turned 21 in a month. Look. It's not GG's for me yet. It's barely noticeable, especially if you don't know me. Nonetheless, I've been seeing it. And well, it got me thinking about the topic of going bald in your 20s. I did a little bit of research, so let's talk about it, from the causes, impacts, and possible solutions. Stick around for the ride. Let me just start off by saying, you never even had a fair chance to begin with. You see, studies have shown that genetics accounts for 80% of male pattern balding cases. And the worst part about this is that there isn't just one single balding gene. Balding is influenced by a whole cocktail of genes and hormones. You've probably heard of the old wives' tale that you inherit your balding or your baldness from your mother's side. Well, there's a bit of truth to that statement. Yes, some of the most influential genes for hair loss are on the X chromosome, which, yes, men do inherit from their mothers, but the main gene this theory rests upon is the androgen receptor gene, which is located on the X chromosome. But that's not the full story. You see, male pattern balding is a polygenetic trait, meaning that multiple genes are in on the conspiracy to take your hair. A large-scale genetic study in 2017 identified 63 genes that can play a role in male pattern balding. Guess what? Only 6 of them were found on the X chromosome. So yes, while your mom's side is important, it's the complex interplay between all these different genes from both your parents that determines your overall genetic predisposition to hair loss. On the hormonal front, male pattern balding is closely linked to hormones called androgens, specifically an androgen called DHT. This is going to get a little technical, so stick with me here. Basically, hair growth begins underneath the skin in structures called follicles. Your body produces testosterone, which is then converted into the more potent DHT by an enzyme in your hair follicles. This DHT then binds to a protein called the androgen receptor, which is made by the AR gene we talked about. Basically, this is how it's all supposed to work. You see, a hair strand grows for 2 to 6 years, then enters a resting phase for several months before a new hair begins to grow. However, if your genes give you androgen receptors that are extra sensitive to the DHT, things go haywire. This increased sensitivity leads to a shorter growth phase, meaning that the hair has less time to grow, resulting in shorter and thinner strands. It also causes resting phases to become longer. So the growth of new hair to replace the one that's shed is delayed. This process is called follicle miniaturization. Over time, these changes lead to significant hair thinning and loss. Yeah, that was a bit confusing. So here's an analogy to at least break it down and make it just a little bit simple for you to understand. Imagine your scalp is a garden, and each hair follicle is a tiny plant. Androgens, in this analogy, are like very powerful fertilizers. For most of the plants on your body, this fertilizer helps them grow strong. However, for the follicles on the head of someone with MBP, they have a genetic allergy to this fertilizer, specifically DHT. So instead of helping, the DHT acts more like a targeted poison. With each growth cycle, this poison shrinks the plant, causing it to produce smaller and weaker sprouts. It also makes the dormant winter phase last longer. Eventually, the plant machinery itself shrinks to the point where it can't produce any new growth at all. And jiggy you're bald. Just to be clear, there are many ways of going bald. This is just one explanation, and it's not the end all be all. I'm just a dude with a laptop, dog. Going bald. It's a turbulent time for most men. It makes you feel... Well, to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I mean, personally speaking, I hate it, but we live in a democracy, or I hope you do at least. So my opinion is not the end all, be all of opinions. In this part of the video, I was hoping to interview some of my friends to see how they feel about going bald and how they are dealing with it. But none of them are, ahead of the game like me. That is to say, those lucky bastards still have their hairlines intact. Jealous. So I had no choice. I had to conduct some other form of research. I was thinking, street interviews may be cool. Just approach like random dudes on the street, especially the young looking ones, with a camera and a portable microphone, and just like, hey yo, how do you feel with yourself? How do you feel about yourself? But I don't have a camera and I don't have a portable microphone, so that idea had to be trashed. So I just went to Reddit hoping to get some reasonable answers, and all I got was propaganda, man. I swear there has to be some kind of bald man association secretly running Reddit, because all these answers were spouting some BS of acceptance and whatever else. Listen, I'm nowhere near bald. There's nothing to accept. I'm just planning ahead. In the end, I couldn't find any credible source whose opinions can be considered for this video at least. So, would you look at that? My opinion is the end all be all after all. Now that I know the causes of AGA, is there any way I can prevent it? Nah, not really. Like I told you before, you never even really stood a chance to begin with. So, if you can't prevent it, can you treat it? Got multiple ways to do that. Hear me out. Option 1. This is by far the cheapest one and the most easiest to implement. All you have to do is just accept it and go bald, bruh. Cut it all off, shave it all off, tweeze it all off. Just make sure it's all off. And be like Dwayne, as smooth as The Rock. But if you're like me and you aren't tall, good looking, or rich, and you have a bottle shaped head, which I don't, I'm just saying that for like men who actually do bottle shaped heads, this isn't a valid solution. Plus, I just started my 20s. I'm not ready to be bald for the rest of my life. 2 out of 10. Not completely bad, but not the solution for me. Option 2. I could possibly pull a Gino from 90 Day Fiancé or a Black for all my hip-hop heads out there. Hip-hop foreheads. I commit to wearing headgear for the rest of my life. This solution is not a total write-off because, well, I'm already doing this. Just one problem. I have labs 3 out of the 5 working days in the week. And when I do go to the lab, I have to take my beanie off because headgear is not allowed in the lab. You might catch fire or some stupid shit like that. I don't know why you have to take it off. But anyway, every single time, it feels like a humiliation ritual. Like it's, go on peasants, undress for us, and while you're at it, do a little dance too. That's how it feels like. I hate it. I don't really hate it. I just hate it. Whatever. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Not enough protection. Yeah, like that. Option 3. Drugs, baby. I've had some. Maybe you have too. But in this wait, there is only one big shot. The superstar wonder drug. He restores confidence. He saves marriages. He is the most talked about. He is the biggest. He is the baddest combination of chemicals found in a bottle. And his name is Minoxidil? Minoxidil! Look, I've had people talking about it. So naturally, I searched up the price, excited as heck for the comeback I was about to pull. Thinking of myself like, 2025 Anthony. Goat stuff. Goated hairline. What the fuck though? What the fuck was that price? It's like $8.50 per month. Nah dog, that's not gonna work. I'm a uni student on the continent of Africa, so I'm starving. 2 out of 10. As in like, it's too expensive for me to even think about it. Option 4. BBLs. Domain expansion. Bogus Brazilian locks. Listen to me. The Matrix, it doesn't want you to find happiness, especially if you're balding. Why do you think they poisoned our minds? as young lads by teaching us that toupees were only worn by stuck-up middle-aged math tutors who were living mediocre, depressing lives. You see, me, I'm different. I see past the lies and deceptions. I see hope. Hope for a better way to live without the stress of not being dope, only existing to cope with the pain as the tears wash down your face like rain. Now, thanks to the advancements in the wig industry during the Brazilian weave revolution, the tech to make dope as toupees has arrived. Gone are the days of you losing your hair to the wind. With some toothpaste, you can get it to stick. Okay. Skits aside, I don't think this is the solution for me. It's just a no. 4 out of 10. I might try it once, but no. Option 5. Hair transplant surgery. Look, I know I can't afford this option, but a man can dream, right? So, like a millennial looking through property.com for houses they'll never be able to afford, I dreamt. And there I was, scouring the internet for hair transplant surgeries, hoping that I too might one day own a full head of hair. Look, it's expensive, but just hear me out for a second. I found out that I could get the surgery locally, and since it's local, I'm technically saving money on flight costs, and if you think about it that way, this is actually a discount. And also, this is a permanent solution, unlike the drug options, which you need to buy drugs every single month. This one just gets it done. You feel me? Oh, it's the price of a second-hand car, but my heart is resolute. Pikachu, I choose you. In the meantime, I needed a game plan to hide away my shortcomings while I acquired the required sum to pay for a full head of hair. Here it is. Step 1. I buy a bunch of hats and caps, then I just wear them day in, day out while I save up for the surgery. And if anyone asks, "Hey yo, why have you started rocking the caps every single day?" I'll be like, "Huh? Whatever do you mean, my good sir?" The caps and beanies every day. What's up with that? Think of something. Don't say you like a fat. Don't say you like cat. Don't say you like cat. Hair like hair. Like six slack. Black. Yeah, that's it. I was influenced by Black, man. He's artistry. That man's music is so dope. I had to start wearing beanies and caps. I had to cap. He's just that good. Bro. If the worst comes and my situation becomes more worse, I'm not smart enough to think of any other words. So yeah, and my situation becomes worse, before I can afford the surgery, I might go bald just temporarily while I save up for the surgery. I mean, with my current financial prospects considered, it will only take 2 plus 3. Don't forget to carry the 1. 100 years. Damn. Sure. Okay. During the making of this video, I couldn't help but feel like a fool making mountains over molehills. I know that balding is a natural process and good times come and go. The common consensus seems to be that it's just another part of life that comes as your years pile up. But something inside of me just refuses to accept it. Like a devout Christian seeing the second coming of Christ amidst the sin, all I can say is, why now? Look, I don't mind going bald, but I just entered my 20s. All I want is a little more time. That's a lie. I don't know why I was lying. I want a bunch more time, 20 years. Yeah, I don't mind going bald at 41, you know? Yeah, that's the conclusion I ended up on. I don't mind going bald as long as I'm 41 or 50. Yeah, that's it.